Today we come near to the end of our little series on the shortest books of the Bible. Other than the book of the prophet Obadiah, all the rest of our list of the shortest books of the Bible are letters, epistles. Some are written to individuals, such as Titus and Philemon, while others, including Jude and today's epistle, are written to congregations or to the church at large. And like the others, its brevity should not lead us to think it is unimportant. Indeed, this letter links two Christian beliefs together in a most unexpected way. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, February 4th, 2022. Weighing in at a mere 245 words in Greek, in 13 verses in one very brief chapter, is the epistle we call 2 John. The writer of 2 John doesn't identify himself by name, but his style of writing and his theological emphases mark him as either possibly the writer of the Gospel of John or, more likely, one of that John's disciples. The Gospel of John and the three short letters of John are written in such a distinctive style that they are clearly written from within a particular Christian community. Scholars refer to this community as the Johannine community. But whether the author of 2 John is the gospel writer or a disciple is not really all that important. What matters most is that we recognize the distinctive flavor of the theology connecting all of them. I mentioned that this letter touches on two ideas and connects them in an unexpected way. These two ideas are both characteristic of the Gospel of John and of the three Johannine letters. The first idea is the importance of love as a mark of the Christian life. This seems like an obvious one, though. Nearly every book in the New Testament talks about love. Paul devotes perhaps his most famous chapter to it, 1 Corinthians 13. But the idea of love in the Johannine community had a special and particular significance. It was absolutely central to the faith itself, not a result of the theology, but a driver of this theology. It is articulated in the Gospel of John, where Jesus says during the Last Supper, "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another." And then this command is repeated in the gospel several times. Then in the letter 1 John we read, "Beloved, let us love one another, because love is from God. Everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, for God is love." And so in 2 John, the writer says, "I was overjoyed to find some of your children walking in the truth, just as we have been commanded by the Father. But now, dear lady, I ask you, not as though I were writing you a new commandment, but one we have had from the beginning. Let us love one another. And this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, just as you have heard it from the beginning. You must walk in it." This is really a fascinating way to put it. Walk in love. Love is not merely a feeling of affection for one another. Rather, it is lived out in concrete ways in our lives. It's not enough to speak of love only when it's convenient. We must walk in love. We have to walk the talk. Which brings us to the second idea in 2 John that is characteristic of Johannine theology generally, the incarnation of God in Jesus Christ. From the Gospel of John through the Johannine letters, there is a special and vigorous insistence on the incarnation. While this doesn't sound all that exciting to us, since we are so accustomed to the idea, there was a lot of debate in the early church about Jesus. Was he a regular human being whom God had somehow specially touched? Was he a spirit who only seemed to be a human, but really was a sort of ghostly appearance of God, but not actually human? The Johannine community insisted that Jesus was God and was really in the flesh and blood of a human being. Immediately after the passage I quoted above, the writer of 2 John immediately turns to a warning about those who deny the incarnation. It seems like an abrupt shift, a real non sequitur. Is there a connection between love and the incarnation? For the Johannine community, emphatically yes. The incarnation is the manifestation of God's love for us. By coming in the flesh to dwell among us, God's love ceased to be a nice sentimental concept and took on the rough and tumble of the world. It took flesh. In Jesus Christ, God's love walked among us. Hence the importance of the writer's insistence that we too must walk in love. Because Jesus Christ embodies God's love, so we too must embody that love in all that we do. We must walk the talk. Otherwise, God's love remains little more than sappy sentimentality. Love and incarnation. Not two ideas haphazardly slapped together, but two ideas that absolutely belong together. When we return tomorrow, we reach the number one shortest book of the Bible. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.